Hi everybody, it's Julie, Kansas City girl in a Colorado world, and this is a 2024 WIP Parade. WIP, W-I-P, stands for Work in Progress, and it essentially just means a project that has been started but has not been finished. And for some of us, cross-stitchers, we have many WIPs because we like to buy and start all the things. And maybe we don't always finish those things before we are distracted or attracted to the next shiny new project. So I personally have many WIPs. This is a judgment-free zone. I know that sometimes when the WIP parades start appearing on FlossTube, which is generally like the end of the year, there can be like some judgment going around about like the amount of projects that people have. I say live and let live. If you are a 1 project stitcher or if you are a 100 project stitcher, like whatever makes you happy is cool. So right now I have 88, give or take. I have 88 WIPs. The reason I say give or take is because a couple of those are round robin pieces where I've completed my portion and they're out circulating in the world right now. And when they come back to me, they will be finished. Therefore, they're still on my WIP list, but like they're not active. I've got like, you know, some model stitches. So I'm somewhere in the ballpark of 88, maybe even a little less than that. That is a pretty good number for me. I usually hover around 100, but last year I really made a focus to finish some things. So a few times a year I go through, really go through my projects and make sure that there's still ones I want to stitch and that I'm enjoying. And I do usually end up culling a few here and there. And so, you know, like last time I did that, I got rid of 2 more, I think. So these are ones I really love. So anyway, I'm going to get started, but just one last thing about the format of the video. To keep this just interesting for me and for you, I'm going to switch up the way I show projects. Usually I go chronologically. I'll either go oldest to newest, or sometimes I think I've done newest to oldest. But to just keep it a little fresh, I think what I'm going to do is chronological alternating from both ways until we meet in the middle. Meaning I'm going to show you my oldest WIP, and I'm going to show you my newest WIP, and then I'm going to show you my second oldest WIP, and then I'm going to show you my second newest WIP. So we're going to go back and forth. That way I think you're going to see some fresh projects, but you're going to see some good oldies, and I won't be so bored, and hopefully you won't be bored either. All right, let's get started. I am going to try to keep this moving. 88 WIPs, that's going to be a long video if I sit and really talk about each one in detail, so I'm not going to do that. If you have any questions, just ask me down below. I will try to do like fabric floss, the pertinent stuff, but I really don't want to spend too long on each project because then we'll be here for a long time. And because there are 88 projects, I didn't take them all out of their project bag. So you're going to hear zippers, you're going to hear crinkling, you're going to hear some things. So I hope that's all right. All right, my oldest WIP, and we're looking at 2017. So 2017 is when I got like serious about cross stitching. I had dabbled, I think around 2015 and 2016, I dabbled just a little bit. And then 2017 is when I like discovered that there was more to cross stitch than just the dimensions kits at the big box stores. And I started to find things that were more interesting to me. So my oldest WIP is Plum Street Samplers Jack's Bash. Now this one is a Halloween style pattern, and I just dropped it on the floor. All right, and I haven't worked on this in a while, I'll be honest. However, I had a good start from way back when. This is stitched on 36 count Edinburgh linen in the color Platinum. So it's a nice simple linen, and I think I'm using all, well, I'm sure I'm using all the called for, because in 2017 I didn't know I could change floss. So there is where I'm at on Jack's Bash. An oldie but a goodie. All right, one of my newer WIPs is Moonlight Laguna Mermaid by Mirabilia / Nora Corbett. I'm actually not sure. I actually think this one might be under the Nora Corbett imprint instead of Mirabilia. So this is Moonlight Laguna Mermaid. I just showed this in my last floss tube. I am stitching this with the called for DMC, water lilies, all the things, but I did change the skin tone to a deeper skin tone. And so this is stitched on a 32 count Laguna from Be Stitch Me in the color Reef. This is such a cool fabric. And again, I did deepen that skin tone. If you want that conversion, just let me know. I'll share it. I think I did share it on my Instagram post. If you go look there, it's in the description of the post. So that's Moonlight Laguna Mermaid. Hopefully I will remember to grab in the correct order. We might mess up a little bit here and there, but it's gonna be okay. All right, so my next oldest WIP is Rosewood Manor Autumn Quakers. And I did grab the Valdani floss pack for this. And I think this is actually the called for fabric as well. This is Picture This Plus 28 count doubloon. So again, I think I'm stitching this on the called for fabric, and wow, I really thought I had more done than this. I think I said that. I think every time I get this out, I'm like, oh, I thought I was further than that. I really have such a pitiful start on that. Oh man. It's been a long time since I've worked on that too. Okay, so my next WIP was the Nora Corbett Gemini. No, that's not true. Nora Corbett Zodiac Girls Taurus. This is my next oldest WIP. Or my newest WIP. So I had a little start. I'm stitching all of the Nora Corbett Zodiac Girls, which is all 12 zodiac signs. And this was what I did for Taurus. This is a 28 count Monaco that I hand dyed myself. And I also did change her skin tone as well. So that's where I'm at on Taurus. I also started the Rosewood Manor Winter Quakers. Now I only have the autumn and the winter. I was not ambitious enough to start spring and summer. I really believed I would finish one of these and then I could start spring and summer. That was 6 or 7 years ago. So that has not happened. This is Winter Quakers. I did get the Valdani floss pack for this one as well, but I did not use the called for fabric. This is a 28 count even weave. It's not linen, it's even weave. It's from Hand Dyed by Stephanie in the color Snowdrifts. I have a more significant start on this one, and I think that's why I always am surprised when I pull out the Autumn Quakers, because I feel like I'm this far on Autumn Quakers, and then I'm always like, oh, no, I'm not. So that is where I got to on Winter Quakers. Those are really beautiful patterns. I have absolutely no excuse for not having gotten further on those. So I do apologize, but this is going to be a long video. I'm going to need my iced coffee. Okay, so I'm going to have to insert some photos of finished projects for a lot of these more recent WIPs, because a lot of them are PDFs. So I haven't printed out anything. So I'm going to have to insert a photo. This is, my next one is from Shaded Stitchery, Nuri. She designed a pattern inspired by the Bridgerton universe, specifically the Queen Charlotte spinoff show. And this pattern is called Queen of Joys and Sorrows. Or the other way, I always get it mixed up. I think it's Joys and Sorrows. It could be Sorrows and Joys. I can never quite remember. But anyway, I got to start on this. This is a hand dyed, I think it's like a 30 count linen that was hand dyed by my friend Diana. It is Kismet Stitches. Just felt a fluffy come through. And then I'm using a DMC Color Variations floss for the floss. So I've got it right here. In case anyone is curious, it is DMC. So the color variations look like this, and it is color 4220. So it goes from like a super pale lilac, basically probably white with maybe just a hint of a lavender to it, into like a periwinkle purple lavender. It's looking phenomenal, and it's stitching up really quick. Unfortunately, due to like other commitments, I couldn't get real far on that one, but I love that one, and I certainly would love to get back to that one. Oh my gosh, this one is an oldie. This is Leela Studio Let Freedom Ring. This is a really big pattern. This one's hard for me because I'm really not into patriotic stitching anymore, but it's such a beautiful design. It looks so good. It's a really, really stunning design. She did such a good job with this pattern. And I love the way it's looking. I love the floss. Like, I love it. I just can't really get excited about patriotic stitching, personally. So anyway, this is on 40 count. No, it's 35 count linen from the Primitive Hair, and it's Old New England. And this is such a cool linen as well. So I did get a lot done on that big old building. I haven't worked on this one in a long time. Ooh. All right, so I started the Witchy Stitcher Nostalgic Tarot Stitch Along. This is a stitch along that is right now exclusive to her Patreon, but she will be releasing the pieces on her website at some point. I'm not sure exactly when she said, but I want to say it was coming up pretty soon, maybe in July. She's going to start releasing the tarot cards where you can purchase them from her. But if you're in her Patreon, that's like the monthly pattern release through the Patreon. So I have one card done. I think she's released maybe 6. I have one. This is a really big project. I'm stitching this over 1 on 28 count, but it is like 400 something stitches wide by 500 something tall. It's very, very big. Mine is smaller because I'm doing over 1 on 28 count Monaco. I did hand dye this Monaco myself, but I am using all the called for DMC colors. So it looks amazing. It's just it's a large project, and it's quite a commitment. All right, so I have Ink Circles, Get Crackin'. This is, it calls for Gloriana silk, and I did buy the called for silk. So I'm using all the called for floss on that. They're just gorgeous to work with. They're such great flosses. And I'm stitching this on a 36 count Picture This Plus fabric, and the color is Serene. I'm using 1 strand over 2 on 36 count. And this is like a really, really pale, like aqua mint color. It's really pretty. And that is where I'm at on that one. So this one will look different from last time I showed it. This is Forest Kiki Moa. This was a kit I took with me to Stitch North and got like a tiny little baby start. But since then I have gone ham on this thing because it's been my like car project, and we went camping. So it was like 3 hours each way that I was working on this, and then I stitched a ton while we were camping. And it's been my car project, so I've been getting a lot of work on this, and I'm actually like not that far off from a finish. Here is how it will look. I did get the kit years ago from Forest, so it came with the fabric, the floss, and a needle minder. And so I'm using all the called for, and like I said, I've gotten a ton done on this since I showed this last video. Last video, I think I just had like a little bit of like her dress done, and now I've gotten, you know, all of this done. It's stitching up really fast. This border actually is stitching up really, really fast. So that will hopefully be a finish really soon. I feel like I'm doing really good with alternating so far. All right, so this is Ingleside Imaginarium's Guardians of Notre Dame. This was the 2018 Mystery Stitch Along. This turned out just so great. I love this pattern. I say it every year when I do a WIP Parade and I show it. I say I just love it. The back stitch is not fun because I don't like back stitch. If you like back stitch, that's probably very fun for you. I don't love doing backstitch, but this is worth it because it looks amazing. And it really does look like stained glass. It looks so cool. I'm using all the called for floss, but I did dye a 28 count linen myself. So this is hand dyed by me. And I'm about 1/4 done. And I haven't worked on this in so long. And I don't know why. Every year I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna work on this. It's finished. Like I feel like it would be easy to finish, and then I just never get around to it. So but I do love the look of it. I love the way it looks. It's just stitched with DMC, and then the frame is a Gentle Arts. So I started a Carolyn Manning like a month or so ago. This is Persephone, and this is with all the called for DMC, and I got a nice start on this one. The fabric is a 14 count Aida that was in a Witchy Stitcher box like ages ago. I think it might have been the coffee box, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So I think it was like a one-off dye. I think it might have been dyed by Jody from Steel City Stitchers. I think that she dyed the fabric for that box, but I could be wrong, but I think she did. Anyway, it's an awesome fabric, and it looks really good with these DMC colors. And I love Carolyn Manning, and I will be showing you another one soon that I have gotten significant progress on it. But this one also, I got a ton of progress on. So this is a chatelaine. This is Marie Antoinette. Let me see, is it mandala? What is it called? The Marie Antoinette mandala, because I think there's another Marie Antoinette pattern that's not a mandala. This is the mock-up of that, and this is stitched on with all the called for floss and specialty fibers. It's on 32 count French lilac from Picture This Plus, and I feel like this is a dark piece of French lilac. It just seems like maybe a little bit of a darker purple than this fabric always is. And I've got the middle done. I did actually work on this one. Was it last year? I feel like it wasn't that long ago. I did get this one out and work on it. Maybe it was this year. And I got the middle done except for like the beads, and I think just the beads. So I know, you know, past me, maybe this wasn't the best fabric choice. The navy floss is really kind of blending in. I'm hoping that when I add beads, it will pop a little better. I still think it's going to be gorgeous no matter what, but, you know, past me wasn't perfect. I didn't always get it right. I don't think I got that fabric right, but it's going to be okay. It's still going to be gorgeous. All right, so this was one of my only Market 2024 purchases. This is Outnumber the Shamrocks by Stitchy Pros. I knew immediately that I needed this chart. I think it's just gorgeous. And it came with a Cottage Garden floss pack, and I love the Cottage Garden flosses. And I just knew this one was going to be more stunning in person than what, I mean, it's stunning on the picture, but I just knew it was going to be so pretty. And I was right once I started stitching it. Oh, I need to cut this fabric down. What am I doing? look at, okay, here's like one, there's the halfway point. So it's only going to be, you know, this much wider. And then I think this is the halfway point. So it's only going to be like this much taller. Why do I have this much fabric? I need to cut that down. This is 40 count flannel flower by Fox and Rabbit, which is maybe it's gotta be, if not my favorite fabric, it's like top 2 for sure. I love this fabric. It's gorgeous. Everything looks good on this. And there's my start. I'm using the Called For Cottage Garden floss, and I just love it. I think it looks so gorgeous. Holly did such a good job with this pattern. Stitchy Pros, the designer, Holly. Oh, gorgeous. I love it. I can't just keep saying I need to get back to that because I'll be saying that all day long. But I need to get back to it. All right. Barbara Anna Snooty Parrots. I need to finish this one. It's so ridiculous that I have not finished this. It's the Snooty Parrot sampler. I did make some changes to this one. This is when I was starting to get brave. I was starting to really feel myself. And I got brave and I started to make some changes. So I loved this sampler, but I did not love the more religious verse in the center of the sampler. And I decided I was going to change it. And at the time I was trying to think, like, what did I want to change it to? And I don't know why, because it was a long time ago. I don't remember my exact thought process, but I landed on a quote from Gilmore Girls, which then inspired me to make a few other changes to the sampler and then make it like a Gilmore Girls sampler. So I changed the Adam and Eve under the tree to Luke and Lorelai. And I've charted some significant changes down at the bottom to make it Gilmore Girls themed. But I've had it charted for years. I just haven't ever stitched it. At this point, I think I even could probably do a better job with the design. So I need to just like fire up Max Stitch and get at it. Anyway, I've got so much done on this. I need to just finish this. This is 40 count R&R fabrics in Stars Hollow blend. That's why I chose it, Gilmore Girls. And then I'm using, I think it calls for like maybe Gentle Arts Classic Colorworks, and I did a silk conversion, but it's the same like colors. I didn't change the palette. I just changed it to silk. And I've got this, so there's my Luke and my Lorelai. I'm pretty proud of them. I think they're really cute. I think Luke especially, I did a really good job. And I think I put a CT here for Connecticut. I don't know. It's been a long time. I'm pretty sure that's what I did. So the quote is, I can't stop drinking the coffee. If I stop drinking the coffee, I stop doing the standing and the walking and the words putting into sentence doing. That's a Lorelai quote from the show. And I really love this. I just need to finish it. Why have I not done that? Why? All right, this is Rebecca Nurse by The Primitive Hare. I started this with some friends. I had wanted to start it forever, and then someone else had brought it up, and I was like, yeah, I've been wanting to start that. And then someone else wanted to start it, and it just kind of became like a, let's start this thing finally. So I did get a lot of outlining done on this because my grand plan was to take this to Stitch North and do it as fill-in while I was there. I didn't touch it. I'm using the Called For DMC. And as you can see, I got like the house outlined. I got the snow outlined. Like I got everything outlined so that I could just fill in. It's a rather small pattern, but also I'm doing this on a 40 count linen. So it's even smaller. It's extra design, 40 count linen in the color Dark Sand. And like I said, I am using the Called For DMC floss on that. This was from a previous project that I UFO'd, so just ignore that part. I just didn't unpick that yet. Here's the actual, like, look how tiny that is. It's teeny tiny. Like, it looks more significant in the picture, but it's really little. Okay. Ooh, this is an oldie, but a goodie. This is Witch's Hollow from the Primitive Needle. Now this is a precious, very valuable chart. So this is my working copy of the chart because I have it like tucked away for safekeeping. And I think my working copy is like a little lighter, a little faded. So you're not getting like the full saturation there. I am stitching this with all of the called for floss, but I'm stitching this on Picture This Plus Murky, and I don't remember, is it 40 count? It must be. I'm sure it's a 40 count Murky. God, that's a good piece of Murky too. That is pretty. So that's where I'm at on Witch's Hollow. It calls for like 4 skeins of charcoal. this floss here, and the tree in the tower. It's a lot. It's a lot of charcoal, but it looks so cool. I love that one. Oh, this is, oh, what is this called? This is Sprouting Lupine, who's become one of like a designer that I found like recently, and I've got 3 things I've stitched from them. I love them. So this is My Mushy Valentine by Sprouting Lupine. It's so pretty. And I'm using all the called for floss except for, there's a sparkly floss in here. It's in this border right here. I don't know if it's sparkling for you. And she called for like, I think she called for doing a blend of like DMC 816 and then like a blending filament. But then I realized like DMC 816 comes in Etoile, which is a sparkle. So I was like, you know, I'm not going to mess with like the blending filament. I'll just use my Etoile. So it's still the same color. It's 816, but that was the only change I made. Otherwise it's the called for floss. It looks so great. This is a fabric from Nicholas Flamel. It's from the Bronte Sisters collection. It was a set of 3 32 count hand-dyed linens. He did not individually name all 3 fabrics. It's just all 3 together were called the Bronte Sisters. So this is one of the Bronte Sisters. This is, this person, I think, just kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. Unfortunately. So there was, when I signed up for this stitch along way back when, there was a designer, I don't even know if like the Etsy shop is still open. So the designer is Suburban Ennui, and it's the Works of Jane Austen stitch along. So there's a stitch along that came out in, you know, several parts, and each section, is based on a novel from Jane Austen. Like I said, I'm not even sure if she's still designing, or if you could still even purchase this. I stitched mine on a Fabric of the Month from XG Designs. The color, but I am almost sure this color is now just in like her line. So if you go to XG Design, you might be able to get this. It's called Dark Mountain. It was a Fabric of the Month, but I think now it's just permanent. I'm using the called for DMC floss. My needle minders are sticking together. Hello. I'm sorry, I'm revisiting these needle minders. Like I don't even remember all of them because it's been so long. This one was making me giggle because I forgot I had it. All right, so that's the called for DMC floss, and I love this. And I should binge watch all of the Jane Austen adaptations while working on that. This is Christmas Day 1826 by Kathy Barrick. I love Kathy Barrick so much. I got this at Country Sampler in Spring Green, Wisconsin, and they had done a conversion for this. So mine's going to look different than this. It's a really small pattern. It's going to stitch up super quick. I could have finished this, really. I easily could have finished this. But the conversion they did has a little bit more red, and they added a green to make it more of a Christmas, like a vintagey, primitive kind of Christmas, but to make it just feel more Christmassy. Because again, it's called Christmas Day 1826. It just says Rachel Deardorff, her work complete, December 25th, 1826, Christmas Day. So they just punched up the palette a little bit to make it feel more like a Christmas palette. And here is where I'm at on this. It's stitching up so fast. The fabric, I can't remember if they said, oh, it's a 32 count Peeps Lost Sheep. I think that might be an R&R fabric. It feels like an R&R fabric. Peeps Lost Sheep. And then it's their own conversion, so I'm not going to share that because I think that you're not supposed to do that. That way you get it from them. All right, so this is such a beautiful, beautiful pattern. This is Blackbird Sky by the Primitive Needle. Probably, I mean, I love everything from the Primitive Needle, but this is probably my favorite, or definitely one of my favorites. This is such a gorgeous sampler. I don't think I'm using the called for floss. I think I'm using some of the called for floss, and then I think I'm just like, I was grabbing from Stash, like something similar. I'm stitching this on an XJU Design Fabric of the Month, so I dropped that, sorry. I don't know if it's available as like not a Fabric of the Month. The color was called Cinnamon Roll. It was a 36 count. I'm using one strand over 2 on 36 count. It's a really cool fabric. A pretty tight margin, but it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine, but it is a little bit of a tight margin there. And I've got the first block done and I started into the second block. Real quick public service announcement. If you are ever stitching Blackbird Sky, you need to know that in these diamonds in the border up here, they're all there's 2 spaces in between every diamond, except for in one spot, there are 3 spaces. And so if you miss that, you're not gonna line up right. I did miss that, but then someone pointed it out to me and I made it up. So I made it up right here, but I don't think that's actually somewhere here, right here. I made it up here. I put 3 spaces in between here, but I don't think that was even like where there were supposed to be 3 spaces, but I was already like in past that point when someone pointed it out to me. So if you're stitching Blackbird Sky, watch out for that. Easy to miss. What is this? Oh, I was like, what the heck is this? Mirabilia at the Met. I started this with my friend Sarah. She is I Swear I'm Stitching on YouTube. And we decided to stitch this. This is at the Met, and we're using like all the called for floss, but we both had the same piece of fabric because I think it came from like a Black Needle Society box and we had both gotten it. This is Jody fabric, but I don't know if it has, I think it has a name. What was it called? I want to say it was like called Crimson Peak, maybe? It was. Crimson Peak by Jody of the Steel City Stitchers, 32 count linen. And my friend Melissa, Starless Stitcher, has a finished and framed at the Met. And she did it on the most beautiful, like burgundy red, gorgeous fabric. And it looked so amazing. So I showed Sarah and she was like, I'm gonna do that too. And then I was like, cool, I've got this fabric. And then she's like, hey, I've got this fabric. And we realized it was the same fabric, which was awesome. So we're gonna match. And I didn't get to work on that for very long. So I don't have a very significant start on that. All right, this is Away We Ride by Blackbird Designs. And I think I'm doing all the called for colors. And it's on 36 count R&R linen in the color Plum Street Blend. That's kind of funny. I am doing a Blackbird Designs fabric pattern on Plum Street linen. But it's fine. I'm not like implying there's like a beef there, by the way. I am sure there is not. I don't want to start any rumors that like there's like beef between Paulette and Alma or anything like that. I just think it's funny that I should probably have stitched a Plum Street samplers on the Plum Street blend. There's my tiny stupid little start. Sorry, it's not stupid. It's just funny that I've had this for so long and that's all I've done. Why am I? All right, this should have been finished, and it's really just criminal that I have not finished this. This is Got the Morbs by Modern Folk Embroidery. It's such a small pattern. Although, to be fair, when I put it into Pattern Keeper, like not too long ago and looked, it was more like, I think I still have like 2,000 stitches left. So I was like, oh, okay, like, that's fair. Because I was sitting there going like, why haven't I finished this? In my mind, it's like 500 stitches, but it's more than that. Anyway, this has Got the Morbs. I'm stitching it on this tiny little scrap of fabric. Good God, I hope I have enough room at the top for the border. It's gonna be, how big is that top border? I feel like it must not be as big as this bottom one. Anyway, this is a little scrap fabric. I don't know what it is. It's a mystery. And I'm using a Forbidden Fiber limited edition floss in Cardinal Thaumatrope. It's from like a Sleepy Hollow theme floss from a box. I don't remember. Mashed potatoes up here, guys. Mashed potatoes. All right, this has Got the Morbs though, and I should finish that. I started that with Abby at Abby Bella Stitch for her birthday last fall. Okay, this is another one that I have such a pitiful start. But every time I go through my WIPs, I'm like, I still love this pattern. I'm not getting rid of it. Because sometimes I'll UFO something if I just have like a tiny start, even if I really love the pattern. If it's something that I started in like 2017, 2018, and like I love it, but I've never gone back to it, and I only had like 40 stitches in it, then I'm like, you know what, let's just UFO that, and someday if I want to stitch it, I'll stitch it. But this one always makes it through the culling, even though I have such a tiny start. It always makes it through because I really do love it. It's the Rampant Cat Sampler by Barbara Anna. And I'm using the Called For DMC. And I'm stitching this on a piece of 32 count linen that I tea and coffee dyed. And here's my little start on that. Arlo's asleep, but he's having a dream. I don't know if you can hear that. You might not have been able to hear that, but he's like whimpering. He's dreaming. He's having a little snooze. All right, there's the Rampant Cat Sampler. What's in here? This is Tiny Modernist Yule Goddess. And this is on, so I'll be inserting photos for the ones that are, this is a PDF. It's on a 32 count fabric from Fiber on a Whim called Cypress. And here's where I'm at. Now, I did change the skin tone on this one. Otherwise, I'm using all the Called For DMC. Now, what I love about Tiny Modernist, Cheryl, the designer, she does use diverse skin tones. And she has a matching, kind of like a coordinating goddess. And it's like the honeybee goddess, I think. And she has a darker skin tone. But for this one, it didn't look right on my fabric. So I did change it, and I gave her a darker skin tone because it looked better with the fabric that I chose. So that's Yule Goddess. Oh my God, I cannot. Cleaning up after this, after I'm done filming, and I got to put all this away, and it's like, it's already stressing me out. Okay, this is Quiltify Design All Souls Vierlanden. This is a really cool pattern. And a couple of my friends have worked on this, and every time I'm like, I need to work on that. So like Lollipop Stitches, she was working on this at Stitch North. Diana, It Is Kismet Stitches, has worked on it recently. And every time I'm like, I should really get mine out. I should. It's on a 40 count Lakeside linen and vintage buttercream. This was back when you could get Lakeside linen. I mean, you can still get it. It's just like not always so easy to find. I'm stitching this with a DMC Coloris, DMC Coloris 4522. This is such a cool color. It's got purple, eggplant, teal, copper. Like it's a really, really pretty variegated floss. And I have the tiniest little sad start on this. But again, it always makes it through the culling because I love it. I do still love it. I just don't ever work on it. Because I'm always on to the next like shiny and new thing. So this was another chart that I got at Country Sampler in Spring Green. This is Old Mustard Moon by Not Forgotten Farm. So I bought this as a kit while I was there. They did have a model for it and it looked amazing. What I didn't realize was that it's all the called for floss. The only change they made was the fabric. So, you know, whatever. I probably could have just bought the pattern and then bought like the picture of this plus murky, but it's fine. It's fine. I just bought it as a kit. So it came with like the floss and the fabric. So they stitched theirs on murky, which totally changed the look, but it looked so cool. I don't have a very big start. But I wanted to get like all the colors in, so I kind of jumped around so I could like get a little bit of every color. I'm sallying this with Megan, the wide-eyed stitching child, and I think she's also using murky or something really similar because I talked her into it. Like she's like, I think I was watching her floss tube and she had the pattern and she was talking about plans and that she thought she was going to stitch this soon. And I was like, hey, I just got that at Country Sampler and they did theirs on murky. It looks so cool. And I like twisted her arm into doing it that way. Oh, this is the Blue Flower Quilting Bee. I remember when this came out at Market, it caused such a stir. Because I think this was like Blue Flower's kind of debut. Oh gosh, 2018 it was. And this came out at Market and just everybody like lost their minds because it's such a gorgeous pattern. And I'm stitching mine with not the called for threads, some of them, but I didn't have some of them. So I just grabbed something from Stash that like looked the same. Like I didn't change the idea of the color. I just grabbed something similar. It's a 40 count XG design linen in the color Gold Sand that I'm stitching on. And I have a nice little start there on the bee body. And I've never gone back to it in a really long time. I wonder if I could still even find all those flosses. Because I think a lot of them are color and cotton, which I should still have, but I could have also like stolen them and used them in other projects. So who knows? All right, so this one I started in November of 2023. This is Barbara Anna Designs Love Never Fails. And I am making a few tweaks to this to make it basically like an anniversary sampler. So like I'll change the coloring on the lady, you know, give her red hair. And then I changed the saying, the saying, it's actually biblical. Love is patient, love is kind, it always protects, always trusts, always perseveres, love never fails. Hence the title, Love Never Fails. But I changed that to song lyrics that are significant to my partner and I. And I changed the palette to a silk conversion. I believe it's charted in DMC. And when I was pulling the DMC, it wasn't looking like this. Like it's just the colors are not quite accurate on here, and the DMC colors weren't actually like looking like this. So I did kind of switch up my silk colors to like pop in a way I liked better. What is this fabric? I have no idea. Let me see if oh, it's a Color and Cotton. It was a July 2020 fabric of the month. The color was Pearwood. I don't know if that's now available outside of fabric of the month. It's a 40 count linen from Color and Cotton called Pearwood. It's really, really beautiful neutral. And this is where I got on this one. Ooh, that orange is so pretty. So the floss, like I said, it's silk conversion, and it's like really just random silks from my stash. There's no like rhyme or reason to it. It was just like ones I've just accumulated over the years. This is Michelle Inc. Quaker Gone Haunted. This is a very cool pattern. And what's really cool about this is she uses the Gentle Arts wool. She uses some Gentle Arts wools on this, along with some Silken Colors silks. And I'm stitching this on a Color and Cotton. This is a gorgeous fabric. It was in it's a limited edition. It doesn't even have a name. It's a 36 count Edinburgh linen. It was in their first like Halloween box that they did way back when. Was that 2018? And the fabric is incredible. If they could redo this fabric, I would buy this again. This is isn't this awesome? This is such a great fabric. There's my little start. So the Gentle Arts wool is this fill-in here in the Tombstone Angel at the top. This one's like really, really screaming at me. Like maybe I'll leave this one out and see if I can be enticed to work on this again, because it's a really cool pattern. And for some reason, it's just like yelling at me right now. Stitch me, stitch me. Okay, so this is another project that I took camping with me. And so I have a ton more progress on this from like last time I showed this. So this is a Carolyn Manning. This is Mabon. I never know how to say it. I think it's Mabon. Mabon? I mean, I think there's like differing opinions on how to say it, but I think it's Mabon or Mabon. Mabon. I don't know. Okay, look. It's a it's a Carolyn Manning, and it's the call for DMC, and I'm doing this on 14 count perforated paper, and I am like 30% done. I did so much. I had like just this much done when I started, and then I like just went ham on this while we were camping, and it looks incredible, and I love it. This is smaller than my other one. This one's like 115, I think, maybe, or 107 square. And my other one's like 200 something. So this is a smaller Carolyn Manning. And I was really loving stitching that. But my tablet kept dying, so. I still got a lot done on it though. This is Lakeside Needlecraft Spooky Halloween. I am stitching this on a 28 count Monaco that I dyed myself, otherwise using the Call for Floss, which is just DMC 310, and then a couple of DMC light effects. These are like neon orange or neon yellow and green, and then the white is glow in the dark. This actually stitches up really quick. Like it was coming together really fast at the time. It looks so cool. I love that needle minder. I don't remember where I got it. That's how far I got on Spooky Halloween. That's a great pattern. So this is Noctiflora horror flies. This was a stitch along last like summer, and I really need, like, I could finish this. These were not taking long at all to do. This is just DMC. It looks incredible. The color choice is just chef's kiss on this. God, that looks good. This is Bestitch Me Catacombs 32 count linen. Gorgeous. Love this. I love this color of linen. It's amazing. And the DMC looks so great on this. I love that one. I love all of these. Who am I kidding? I love them all. All right, this is at First Cockcrow from Blackbird Designs. This was in, this is my working copy. I think this is in the Sisters book from Blackbird Designs. So I want to stitch like everything in that book. It's a great pattern book. And this is, I think, just the called for flosses, or at least floss in my stash that looked the same. And this is a 40 count color and cotton. I think it's called Old Gold or Sampler Gold. Maybe, I think it's called Sampler Gold, actually, now that I think about it. Look how little this is. Like, it looks bigger. It looks like a good size sampler, but it is teeny. And granted, it's on 40 count, but it's still teeny. Oh, God. I think I might need a little break. Okay, I think this is the last thing I have from my trip to country sampler. I went a little crazy while I was there. So this is Songbird Sampler by Artful Offerings, but they had a conversion. So this is what the original pattern looks like, but they had stitched it with like totally different like vibes. And so I bought the kit, and this is, their version is much more prim and dusty. And I was actually having a blast stitching this. I can't remember for what reason, like I needed to work on something else. I was having a lot of fun with this one. And kind of just seeing like how their colors were going to differ. I mean, like, again, it looks way different because look at, like, the called for bird is very yellow. This one, not so much. So their conversion is quite different on that one. This is Stacy Nash Primitives Halloween at Hollyberry Farm. And this one, I was gonna start stitching it, and I had like the called for, and it did not look anything like this. Like on the cover photo, this is like a blue black. But the called for is like just like black, like kind of a dusty charcoaly black. Like it didn't look like this. So I don't know if something happened with the cover photo editing or what, but like I know I'm not the only one that was like, this doesn't look anything like the cover photo. So I did make like a bunch of floss adjustments so that mine would look more like that. Not like it's perfect, but that it would look more like that. But I don't have enough stitched for you to really be able to tell that yet. This is, I think, a 36 count. It might be a 40 count, but I dyed it myself. I love this. I think it turned out, my dye job turned out really great. But I have such a tiny start on this. But you can see I did like in the chimney, it's like this navy. That was my floss I dyed myself to try to get it to look a little bit more like the cover. But then I've never worked on it again, so who knows if it's going to or not. What's in here? Oh, this is Heaven and Earth Designs, Meeting on the Turret Stairs. This is based on a watercolor painting that you can go see in Dublin at the National Gallery. I actually got a keychain at the gift shop at the National Gallery. When I saw this painting in person, it is glorious. So it's by Frederick W. Burton. And again, it's at the National Gallery in Dublin. And this painting is only on display for 1 hour at a time, twice a week. So you can only view it for 2 hours of a week because it's a watercolor and it's very fragile. So they keep it in a protected like armoire, and they come down and they open it, let you view the painting for an hour, and then they close it. So if you do find yourself in Dublin, you should absolutely go see it if you are able, but you do need to look up on their website like the days and times that you can view that, because you cannot just go at any point and expect to see it. Like, you have to go, just look it up. If you want to see this painting, and you should, it is absolutely stunning. I cannot describe the detail, like seeing it in person. There is so much more detail than any print that I've ever seen of it. Anyway, here's my start on my Hade. So this is a 28 count Monaco, and I'm doing 2 strands tent stitch. So basically over 1. So basically doing like a half of a cross stitch with 2 strands over 1. So the 2 strands gives the coverage, but to do a full X with 2 strands would be way too tight. So I'm only doing like a tent stitch, but it still looks really, really great. And I think I'm doing like this, the, you know, smallest version of this Hade that there is. So it's going to be a little blurry, but it's still going to be great. This is Prairie Moon, Thine is the Trick and the Treat. And this is on, it's a picture of this plus, I think it's Velt. Is it 40 count? It's probably 40 count. I think it's a 40 count Velt. And the floss I'm using, it's so beautiful. It's Classic Colorworks Silk. So it's Classic Colorworks Belle Soie in Plush Plum, which is just stunning. What a fabulous floss that is. And it's looking really good on Velt. And that is how far I got on that one. I started in the center, obviously, and I didn't get a ton done on that. I started this with my friend Amy Gable Stitcher. I haven't even mentioned, like, so many of these are like stitch alongs with Amy, but this one I particularly remember we started it for Halloween that year. This is one that I definitely should finish. I don't have that much left on it. This is from Just Cross Stitch magazine. It was the February 2023 issue. It is the Mother Nature Winter. This was a seasonal series that year. They did all of them. The designer is Stitchora. This is how Mother Nature Winter looks, and let me tell you, this is it's challenging because you're looking at a lot of confetti and so much backstitch, and the backstitch almost killed me. But this is just confetti land. Like, there is so much confetti in here. It looks amazing, but it was something else to stitch. It looks so great though. This is a 28 count Monaco that I dyed myself. And so I'm through like the tough part. And so now I just have to finish this skirt and then do the bodice and the hair. Like, there's actually not that much left. I've gotten the worst of it done, and I did all the back stitch on the parts I've already stitched. So she looks incredible, but she was intense, and that's why I haven't tackled the other seasons yet. It's a great series. I just I haven't felt up to it. All right, this is Mirabilia, the Baker's Wife. It looks like this. I'm using the called for floss, but I'm stitching mine on a Picture This Plus 28 count crystal linen. So it's got that sparkle to it. And I believe it's been discontinued. The color is Flapper. And that's how far I got on that one. I love that Mirabilia. This is the Beatrix Potter sampler from Stitchy Box, originally from someone else, but Stitchy Box owns the rights now. Oh my God, I have the saddest little start on this. This is 40 count linen, or it's Verdal. It's 40 count even weave that I tea and coffee dyed, or no, walnut dyed. I walnut dyed this. And there's my little start. It's so it's so sad. I'm stitching this with Gloriana Floramel silk floss in the color Havana Brown. I don't know how Floramel is different than the other silk floss from Gloriana. I don't know. But that's what it is. It's Floramel. And it looks great. I just have the tiniest, saddest little start on that. This is Anne Thomas 1854 from Hands Across the Sea. I'm using the DMC conversion that was provided. It's charted with Auversois, but also like DMC provided. I'm using the DMC. This is a 40 count linen from Under the Sea Fabrics in the color Beach Walk. And the DMC looks absolutely phenomenal. That's Walter the pigeon. He's Walter. Okay. Oh, this is, oh God, what is the name of it? Oh, I might have to put it in. It's the Fox, it was the Fox and Rabbit 2023 Royal Gardens, I think is what it's called. It was the 2023 free stitch along. So they do, every year they do a massive project usually, and it's like a released monthly, and it's free. It's completely free, but usually like a good size project. And this was, I think it was called Royal Gardens, and I did not keep up with this. Shocker. Here is, I mean, I got a lot done, but I did not keep up. I'll try to put a picture, have put a picture in of what the finish looks like. This is a Karen Waterlilies silk in the color Meadow. It's a green, primarily green, but it has pink and blue. So when you stitch it like as it comes off the skein, you get this kind of variegation. And then I fussy cut it over here in the center motif to make the flowers like, you know, their own colors there. I fussy cut that, and then this part I just stitched like as it came. So, oh, and the fabric is, it's Fox and Rabbit. I think it's ballet. I think it's 36 count ballet slippers, which this is a different, that one can turn a different color, like depending on time of year and count of fabric. So it can be a little more peach. It can be a little more pink. This one's a little more of like a gold peach. It almost looks more like Eureka, but it is ballet slippers. Sometimes ballet slippers is more like peachy. Absolutely gorgeous, super fun to stitch. Just, I could not keep up with it. It's just a big project. But anyway, they do a free stitch along every year. They're doing one this year too. You just have to, you can go get it anytime. You go to their website and you can grab it, but they do come out every month, like the first of the month, the next part comes out. And then you have to make sure you download it before like the end of January, because then they do take it off of the free section, and then you can buy like the whole pattern and then you have to pay for it. So if you are interested in Royal Gardens, you have to pay for it because it's no longer free. But this year's stitch along is still available. I hope that makes sense. All right, Chopping Mall by the Witchy Stitcher. I have actually worked on this somewhat recently because I was really considering UFOing this one. And then I was like, I can't quite give it up yet. Let me work on it a little bit and see how I feel. And I felt good. I felt good about it. So this is kind of what it's going to look like, but mine's not going to look like this because I made some massive edits to mine. First of all, on the roof, I didn't feel like stitching all that, so I cut mine off and made it like a flat roof. And then I am changing all of the not all of them, but like most of the rooms of the mall. So I finished the roof when I tackled it recently and decided I would not UFO this, that I would keep going. This is a 28 count Monaco that I dyed myself. You might be able to tell I love to dye 28 count Monaco. It's not actually my favorite thing to stitch on, but I love to dye it, and it's easy to find at like Michael's, and it takes dye beautifully. I love Monaco because your stitches look gorgeous on it. What I don't love about 28 count Monaco is that the holes are really tight. And so if I stitch on it for too long, my hand gets really sore because I have to like pull a little harder to get my needle through because the hole is so tight. And so if I stitch on 28 count Monaco too much, I start to get like wrist pain and hand pain. But I love the look of it. Like it looks, my stitches always look great on it. Anyway, this is, the roof is done. The first 3 rooms are done. And then I'm making like modifications after that because, you know, I jumped in this stitch along and then I realized like, I don't even watch horror movies. I don't watch slasher flicks. I don't like any of that stuff. I was like, why did I commit to this? And so I did keep the first ones because I did at least know these movies. So it's Halloween, Chucky, and Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street. I haven't watched those in ages, but I did watch them in childhood. And so I did keep those. But after that, I'm making changes to movies that are still in the theme, but that I enjoy. So for example, like there were some movies I had never watched at all. Like I'm putting in Misery, Stephen King's Misery, because I do still watch that movie. I just rewatched that like a year or two ago. That movie is still phenomenal. That movie holds up so well. Like it is still so good. I'm putting in like a Lost Boys room. I'm putting in a Beetlejuice room. So it's still kind of like the horror kind of spooky vibe, but like not like slasher films, because I just don't watch those. Like the designs were cool. They didn't mean anything to me. So I had to change it to ones that like I've seen. So that is Chopping Mall by the Witchy Stitcher. This is Modern Folk Embroidery. This was the 2023 stitch along. It was called Reaching Skyward. I will put a picture in, of course. And I changed my colors up. And this is on a Fiber on a Whim 40 count. I think it is parchment or sand or old gold. All 3 of those colors look the same to me. They're not, like if you hold them side by side, they're not the same, but they're all very similar. They're all this kind of like greeny gold kind of vibe. So anyway, I got quite far on this before I kind of crapped out on it. So I'm just using various DMC floss and deciding on colors as I go. So that is that. I do need, part of what like stalled me on this is I'm not happy with this top border. I thought I could live with it, but every month I would get sad about it. And I finally decided I've got to rip it out and redo it. So that yellow's just not showing up in a way I like. You know, I might just rip it out. There's not that much more. If I'm ripping out that whole top border, I might as well just rip it out here and the little bits in here too. I think I just need to redo that yellow. It's not even yellow. I say yellow. It's like, it's a gold, but on this fabric, it just looks yellow and I don't like it. It doesn't show, the pattern doesn't show up well here and I just don't like it. And I'm very happy with the other colors, but I'm just not loving that. And it really, really, really has stalled me. I think I just need to go with a deeper, more browny, kind of deeper gold, and then I'll be perfectly happy. So I just need to frog that and redo it. And then I can be like back on my groove because I love the way it's looking other than that one color. And I finally kind of just had to pause and be like, you're not happy with this. Like, stop stitching on it until you figure this out. Yep. All right, this is another Ingleside Imaginarium. This is Kaluna Brightburn's Catalog for Witches Familiars. I need to finish this because when I work on this, it goes really, really fast. So this was a year-long stitch along. So every month you'd get a new creature. And they took like 2 days to stitch, like for me. They were very quick to stitch. So I just need to get back at it and finish that up. I'm using the called for, I believe I'm using the called for floss. And this is a 40 count, like one of a kind linen. You can't get it anymore. It was a gift from Amy. And it's from a brand that neither of us endorses or recommends in any way whatsoever. So I'm not even gonna say who dyed it. You couldn't get it anyway. And the brand is shit, so not recommending. The fabric is actually really nice to stitch on. Like, the product is good. The people who run the brand are not. Anyway, this is where I'm at on that. Oh, I did make a little change because I made this like sparkly metallic. I made the crystals sparkle. But otherwise, I think it's the called for. And I just, like I said, it stitches up so fast. I should just try to like make that a focus and knock it out. Speaking of making a focus and knocking out, this is my one and only design I've released that I have not had a complete model stitch for. Because I've always model stitched my stuff. But this one, I wanted to get it out for Christmas and I didn't have time to get it done. This is the Holiday Rooster sampler from Hemlock and Rye Stitchery. And I am using two Classic Colorworks flosses. And the fabric is 40 count Fox and Rabbit. I believe it's Eureka. I believe this is the color Eureka. And that is where I'm at on that one. And it looks absolutely amazing. I'm absolutely in love with it. I need to get this done for Christmas this year. This is such a fun sampler because it's just two colors and you can pick your favorite two colors and do what you want. And I've seen people who have stitched it with, you know, various color palettes and it looks incredible. When I released this, I did a bunch of mock-ups for people. I had people just like send me requests and then I like did a mock-up of how it would look. It was so fun. So anyway, so it's really cool pattern because it's like you pick your two favorite colors and you just, you know, go for it, and it's awesome. This is Mirabilia Lilith of Labrador. I love this one. It's just it's a beautiful pattern, and like I love that her skin's like kind of like this lavender gray. It's very cool. I'm using like all the called for colors, and my fabric is. It's a Crosswing collection. God, I didn't think it was going to come to me. It's Crosswing collection. It's a 28 count. It's called Deep Sea. It's a really pretty fabric. And I have a very small little start. Gorgeous fabric though. My friend Lolly, Lollipop Stitches, she just finished Lilith of Labrador. And I have the tiniest little start. This is Autumn Lane Stitchery, Dark Queen of the Earth. This was a stitch along, I want to say it was like the end of 2022 into like summer 2023. This one has been at a little bit of a standstill while I try to figure out what I want to do. But I got quite a lot done on her. This is a 28 count Monaco and I hand dyed it myself. And yeah, so I have a plan. I just have to sit down and chart it out and figure it out. But I got a ton done on this one. like a ton before I realized I needed to like make some decisions, and then I just never got back to it. So that is Dark Queen of the Earth. It's looking awesome. This was another Fox and Rabbit mystery sampler. So I actually do have this one. It's a black and white printout, but this is the 2020. It was called Friends and Family, and is a Quaker sampler. And I'm stitching mine on a 40 count flax. It's a fabric blend. I got it on 1-2-3 Stitch, and it's just called flax. And I think it's like a linen and cotton blend or something like that. It's basically like an even weave. It looks really cool. It looks kind of like an oatmeal kind of fabric. And I've got like quite a good amount stitched on this. I'm using a DMC color variations in the color 40-40. It's like a blurple. It's like a blue. It's a blue to purple. God, I have such a mess to pick up down there. So that's where I got on that. I think after, when I get to the bottom of this bin, I'm gonna take a little break. You won't notice because I'll just splice it together. It'll be fine. Oh no, I just like, my order just got messed up, but it probably doesn't really matter that much. It's fine. This is Plum Street Samplers Spring Moon. This was exclusive to Fox and Rabbit for quite some time, but is now available regular release. But my friend Karen from Fox and Rabbit did gift me the kit. So it's on there, called for baked clay. I think this is a 36 count baked clay, one of my favorite fabrics. I love it. And this is my start on Spring Moon. I love this pattern. Oh, my friend Amy's about to finish it, actually. I clearly am not about to finish it. Speaking of Amy, this was another pattern we started together. This is like, I couldn't even tell you if you could find this pattern. It's from R&R Reproductions. It's the Designer's Motif Sampler. It's from 1997. And it's just kind of like a classic sampler pattern. But it had all these like nods to designers at the time, like their initials are stitched in here, but I don't even know who most of them are now. And it's got a verse about friendship here. And I bought this at a craft thrift store, and it even came with the little like ceramic button. So I bought it and I was like, cool. And then I got home and I opened it, and there were actually 2 charts in there, like 2, even with the button, there were 2 in there. So I was like, Amy, do you want to stitch this with me? And she was like, yeah, sure. So it's 36 count Lakeside Linens, Maritime White is what I'm stitching this on. I have a very tight border on this one. And I'm using like the called for DMC. This is such, like, look at the top. I've got like an inch. It's a very tight border. I'm almost done with that over 1 verse, and I just haven't gotten to this in a long time. It's hard, I think, because like it's a hand-drawn chart. That's how old it is. It's hand-drawn. So it's like, those are just always harder to read. It's just like, and then that over 1 slowed me down. Basically, I need Amy to like twist my arm and be like, we need to work on that. All right, Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. What a fabulous chart. This is from Carriage House Samplings. I'm doing the DMC. It's charted, I think, in NPI. I'm doing the DMC that's, I believe, provided. Or maybe it is charted in DMC. Whatever, I'm doing it in DMC. This is a Fiber on a Whim 40 count. I think this is, so like I said, they all look the same to me. I'm sorry. I don't mean to sound rude. They're not the same. If you hold them side by side, they're really not. But parchment, sand, and old gold all kind of look like this. I don't know which one it is. It's one of those. And there's my little start. I started this with Alexis. Alexis, My Amazing World. How's yours coming along, Alexis? How's it looking? Probably not much more than mine. All right, this was a stitch along in a magazine. What magazine was it? Cross Stitcher. I'm pretty sure it was Cross Stitcher. It's The Adventures of Alice. Stitch along is charted by Amanda Butler, and I'm gonna have to put a picture in because I don't have a printout of like the whole thing. This one is it looks so cool, but it's so hard to work on because it is so fiddly. Like the back stitch is so fiddly, but I'm stitching it with the called for like DMC, and I'm stitching it on a 32 count Picture This Plus. I think the color is Legacy, and it looks incredible. But this green back stitching in the border is like a nightmare. And even just the back stitching in the characters is really tedious, but the effect is stunning. It's incredible. It looks amazing. I don't like backstitch, and this is like backstitch that's even like, you know, even more fiddly than usual. So I don't love working on that one, but it looks so great. All right, this is the Primitive Needle Tombstone Spots. I think I started this with Amy as well. And Alexis, I think, just finished this, or it was very close to a finish. We weren't stitching the, we weren't sallying this, but I think she just also was working on this. I think I'm using the called for floss. This is a 40 count Color and Cotton Fabric of the Month from 2021 in Balmoral. Oh, I have such a sad little start on this. That's so sad. I can do better. I need to do better. That is like pitiful. Pitiful. All right. This is a big project I was undertaking. Basically doing a Halloween village of Mill Hill kits. So I have all these Mill Hill kits, like all of these, and I'm putting 9 of them together on one piece of fabric and making a village. And I have one done. This is the library. This is the Haunted Library. And this is a 32 count that I dyed myself. And so technically this is a finish, but I also want to do all the other ones. So then it is still a WIP. There's so many beads on this. Even for a Mill Hill, I don't know if they're like showing up. That is a lot of beads. Wowza. Oh, my pile just fell over. My pile just fell over. No. All right, I'm gonna pause after this one, and I'm going to pick up some of my mess and get my last bin out. You will have a seamless transition, but I will take a pause. This is the Witchy Stitcher Supernatural Stitch Along. All I have here is the frame. So I'll try to remember to put a picture of like the completed. I'm using like the called for floss, I think. And this is a 40 count Color and Cotton Fabric of the Month. It was called Sweet Tea. I have a lot done on this one, actually. It looks so cool. It looks so great. It stitches up actually really fast. I just need to get back to it. I love how it's looking. Incredible. Okay. We're on the last bin. Whew. All right, this is getting really long, so let's power through. This is Kathy Barrick, AH to EE. This is gorgeous. Smaller than it looks. Like, this is actually not that big of a sampler, and it will go really quick. This is on a 40 count R&R linen in, did I write it down somewhere? I want to say it was called Antique Cotton. It's really pretty. And I'm stitching this with a Threadworks in the color 1070. I don't know what it's actually called. That's the color number. It's gorgeous. So Antique Cotton, I think, is the linen. This is Meili, the South China Sea Mermaid by Mirabilia Designs. I am stitching this with all of the called for floss, and it's like got some dinky dyes and a bunch of DMC. My fabric is there's a tag, right? Is there a tag? Did I make that up? Yep, there's a tag. It's Be Stitch Me 32 count Laguna in the color Haunted. And I have a very sad little start. Very beautiful linen though, or even weave. It's a Laguna. That's where I'm at. Look at my Eric Northman needle minder though. That's nice. I forgot I had that. Okay, this is Wicked Christmas by Sarah Guermani. She's an Italian designer. This is such a cute pattern. It's Halloween and Christmas like mashed up. And it calls for just a bunch of DMC floss. It's a big pattern. I'm stitching this on a 40 count even weave that I dyed myself. And that's as far as I got on that one, which is like, you know, that's a good chunk. It just feels like they never end. All right, this is a chatelaine. This is Alpine, God, what is it called? Alpine Gardens Outlander Edition. The Alpine Garden Mandala, but it's the Outlander Special Edition. Carrie at Roxy Flasco has started or is starting this. So that's kind of what it's gonna look like. So it's basically the Alpine Garden Mandala, but like the designer who has sadly passed away, she did some little tweaks to make it like more Outlander themed. So like she put in like the Fraser like tartan plaid somewhere. She put in the Jesus Pré Fraser clan motto. Like just she tweaked a few little things to make it Outlander themed, because the pattern had already resembled Fraser's Ridge from the books. I'm actually rereading Outlander right now. I'm like 75% through the first book. So I'm stitching this on a 28 count even weave from Fabric Flair, and it's called Historic Green. Historic Green, how fitting. And that's where I'm at on that. I've got most of the center done. I'm starting on the border that surrounds the center. I'm using all the called for like DMC metallics. There's some silks in there. And that's where I'm at. These flowers down here are all over one, and it, woo, they were intense because it's just a ton of confetti and it's over one. But I mean, it's gonna look amazing when it's all said and done. This is Jane Fittis 1835 by Hands Across the Sea Samplers. a silk dropped out, and I might, when I'm packing up, when I'm all done, I might not be able to figure out what project it goes to. So anyway, this is Jane Fittes 1835. This is a Scottish sampler. And interestingly enough, she put in a little subscript here, "Sing me a song of a lass that is gone." So it's interesting. I was just talking about the Outlander chatelaine. So I am stitching this with a silk conversion, trying to like keep the tones the same, but just, well, mine's brighter. Mine's definitely brighter. This is how far I got on this. The fabric is, I don't know. I'm sure it was a Picture This Plus. It's a 40 count Picture This Plus, but I can't remember what the color was. I don't remember. I'm sure I wrote it down somewhere. This is Fox and Rabbit, Mary Morgan's. I still love this sampler. This does not do it justice. You're gonna see on my WIP, it's much more vibrant than this. I'm using the called for DMC. I'm stitching this on a 40, I think it's a 46 count. It's a Barbarall Creations linen. .46 count linen. I didn't write the name of it. That's weird. I wrote Barbarall Creations 46 count linen. Maybe it didn't have a color. I don't know. That's weird, right? Anyway, I've got the center, not even all of the center motif, but a good start on the center motif. And that is still, to this day, one of my favorite samplers ever. It's gorgeous. Stunning. Absolutely stunning. This is My Home in the Garden by Hello from Liz Matthews. I am doing a conversion on this one. It's probably charted with NPI silks. That's what Liz usually charts in, which I didn't have. So I was just pulling silk from my own stash, but like staying with the palette that she had chosen. I'm stitching this on a 40 count coloring cotton fabric from the Fabric of the Month. I was in the Fabric of the Month for a long time and I loved it. But when I moved, I had to cancel it. So, well, I didn't move. When I went on the road, I had to cancel it. So this was a Fabric of the Month color. And here's my tiny little, my pitiful little start. I think I started this with Alicia Resist Stitch. If we didn't start it together, she's definitely stitching it. Another hello from Liz Matthews. This is Quaker Pumpkins. I love this one so much. I remember when she released this, I was like, yes, immediately, yes. Bought it immediately, kitted it up immediately, started it immediately. I believe I'm using all the called for floss, and my fabric is, I'm pretty sure this is a Picture This Plus. It's a 36 count. I do not remember the name. Sorry. It's been a couple years on a lot of these. It's been a couple years. I don't remember. Okay, so a couple years ago in May for Mania, I started a bunch of Al Forest, like Sarah Memphis E Stitcher twisted my arm. So we're going back and forth, but you're gonna see a bunch of Al Forest. This is Dinosaur Forest by Al Forest. It was a kit, so you know the fabric and floss that came in the kit is what I'm using, which is usually like a 30 count or a 32 count linen, and then they dye their own floss. There's my sad little start on Dinosaur Forest. A couple people are working on this right now, and every time they show it, I'm like, oh, I want to get that out, and then I don't. All right, this is a treasure. This is Mirabilia Sleeping Beauty. This was a gift from Helen D, East Coast Crafter. She found this at a thrift store for like $1. And she was like, are you looking for any Mirabilias? Because I think she found like a whole stack of them. And she's like, are there any Mirabilias you're looking for right now? And I was like, well, I mean, Sleeping Beauty, but so is everybody else. And she was like, oh, cool, what's your address? She found it and bought it for like $1. And then since then, Helen has also started to stitch Mirabilias. At the time, she was not a Mirabilia stitcher. Anyway, this is a hard to find Mirabilia. And I have named her Helen in honor of Helen D. And I have the tiniest, saddest little start on her. I'm stitching her with the called for floss. This is a 28 count Picture This Plus fabric. And I can't think of what the name is right now, but I could find it if anybody really needs to know. And there's my sad little start on Sleeping Beauty. AKA Helen. All right, this is Modern Folk Embroidery, their subset, Dark Crosses. This is Edgar Allan Poe, Spirits of the Dead. There it is. And I am stitching this with Color and Cotton floss in the color Caramel Brownie. I've got several skeins of this because I'm stitching this on like a 30 count and it just eats up floss, like just eats it up. It's 32 count hand dyed, losing my pile. It's a hand dyed linen called Witch Tina from Fairy Wool in the Wood. I got this from Top Knot Stitcher a couple years ago. I remember that. Anyway, it looks incredible, but it is just eating up floss. And so even just having that much done, I've already gone through like a skein. So I thought I had more done than that. That's sad. All right, Halloween Quaker by Leela Studio. I'm using the called for flosses and I'm stitching this on Murky from Picture This Plus, which I think is the called for. I think it's stitched, the model stitched on Murky as well. And I love Murky. Murky's such a great fabric. That's where I'm at on that one. Sorry, I'm not like chatting as much about these because I know this video is getting really long and I just need to be done. This is one I have worked on recently. This is Tiny Modernist Zodiac Signs. This was a stitch along. And I am doing this on a hand-dyed 14 count Ada that I dyed myself. And the only big change I made was the border is just stitched with DMC. I switched it out to metallics, DMC Diamond metallics. Otherwise, I'm using like the called for DMC flosses. And here's where I'm at on this. I hit this hard earlier this year. And I did, I think I had Aquarius done, but I did Pisces, I did Aries, and I did like all this border up here. And then I didn't get to it during Taurus season. Nor did I get to it during Gemini season. Maybe I will get to it in Cancer season. We will see. I was going really hard on this one, but I've had other things I've had to do. I love how it's looking. It looks incredible. It's going to be really big, but it looks so great. All right, this is African Woman from Lenart Culture Collection. This is a kit, and so this is how it's going to look. And the fabric is like a printed fabric. And then I think it's just like probably DMC flosses. Yeah, it is DMC floss. But it's like a printed, subtle printing. It's a 27 count even weave. And when I say subtle printing, you'll see what I mean. So here's where I'm at. So it's just like a pretty like mottled gold. And I have not worked on this in so long. It looks so cool, but it's very confetti heavy. It's a commitment for sure. It's looking great though. So that is where I got on that one. All right, another Witchy Stitcher stitch along. This is Cryptids, or the Cryptid stitch along. I'm using the called for floss, and this is a Color and Cotton Fabric of the Month in Spiced Honey, which is somewhat similar to the one I'm using for the Supernatural as well. And this was how far I got on that stitch along before I obviously kind of bailed. Not because they're not great to stitch. It's just when I join stitch alongs, I'm usually good for like 3 months and then whew. All right, this is a Mirabilia Santa's Magic. This is my snow day stitch along. It's my snow day project. So basically anytime it snows, I'm supposed to get this out. I did not. This past winter, that did not happen. I'm sorry. I did get them out once or twice, but definitely like, we didn't get much snow this past winter, actually, like sadly, got very little snow, but it definitely did snow a few times that I didn't get them out. I bought this as a kit. So it's all the called for like fabric and floss. And this is where I'm at on Santa. And I did make a change and I changed his skin tone. I made him a black Santa. But otherwise it's all the called for stuff. This is, I have the most sad, pitiful start on this. This is the 1816 Beerland Sampler. This was in a magazine, it's the Stitch and Needlework, or Stitch and Needlework Quarterly. It's not a magazine any longer. It was the summer 2015 issue and the fall 2015 issue. It was split up between 2 issues. It is absolutely huge. I'm stitching this on a 46 count tea-dyed linen. I'm using Classic Colorworks Erin Go Emerald as my floss, which is gorgeous. And I have, even on 46 count, I have an incredibly tight margin because it is such a big piece. So, but here's my sad little start. I was trying to get all the way across just to make sure it would fit. I have enough room like up and down, but I didn't have much room across. So you can see I have like maybe a 1-inch border, and even that, it might be a little less than 1 inch on this side. So I think I stitched to the halfway point and then like folded it over to make sure like it would fit. And that's, it is going to fit, but it's a tight margin. And I have the saddest little start. The green looks incredible on there. It's looking really good. This is Pride and Prejudice by the Primitive Hare. This is a gorgeous sampler. This is on a mystery fabric. I don't know what it is. I got it at a shop. It says it's a 40 count and it says it's Shadowbrook, but when I Googled it, like no dyer came up. So I don't know like who dyed this because it's really pretty. It's a really pretty linen, but I don't know. And I don't have much done on this one. Linen's gorgeous though. Pitiful start on that one, sorry. This is Dracula's Confession by Lindy Stitches. I'm doing this version down here because everyone else did this version and I felt like I needed to be a little bit contrary. So I did the other version. This is on a Fortnite Fabrics. You can't get them anymore. I think it was a 32 count. I don't know. And I'm using the called for floss. And that's all I've got done on that one. I love that one. Need to get back to that one for sure. Maybe this Halloween like season I'll be in the mood. This is Plum Street Samplers, Miss Bingley's Library. I did work on this recently because I wanted to get it outlined so that I could take it to Stitch North for fill-in. And I did take it to Stitch North for fill-in and I did not touch it. I did not touch it. And I'm not saying, it's not that I didn't stitch at Stitch North. I did. I didn't stitch a ton, but I did stitch a little bit. I just didn't stitch on that. This is a 40 count extra design in the color Light Nugget. And here's where I'm at on this one. So I've got the top done. I just need to fill in this flower urn. and then roof and house. So, and then words down here. So I had like the outline of the roof and the flower urn so that I could just, you know, do like kind of stitching. I didn't have to be so careful with my stitching, but I never even did get this out. So I did make one change. Instead of a Union Jack, I did make a pride flag for mine because I don't have a strong affiliation with the Union Jack. Did I show you what this looks like? I don't know if I did. This is Miss Bingley's library. It says, I shall be miserable if I have not an excellent library. That's from Pride and Prejudice. All right, this is Nevermore from Leela's studio. I have a very pitiful start on this. I am using the called for floss. I am not using the called for fabric. It's a color and cotton fabric of the month. Surprise! 40 count in the color Prairie Dust. And this is where I got on that one. All right, another Owl Forest. This is like our run of Owl Forest here. This is the Queen of Hearts by Owl Forest. I'm using the called for floss, which is their floss that they dyed themselves. And I'm stitching this on a 28 count. I think this is Vintage Country Mocha. I think it's a 28 count even weave. Stitching her as called for. Alexis has gotten this one back out recently. She started hers around the same time I did. I don't remember if we were doing a stitch along or not. Maybe we were. But she's gotten hers out recently and is determined to finish it. So maybe I should get mine back out. This is the Primitive Hare, the Old Winter. I am stitching this with the called for DMC, and I'm stitching this on her fabric that she printed herself. It's called White Flakes. It's a 30 count linen. And so you can see it's like a printed linen. And then here's my stitching right here. A lot to go on that. Another Owl Forest. This is Enchanted Forest. Again, this is a kit. It comes with the fabric and the floss and a needle minder. I have a more respectable start on this one. Very cute. These are very fun to stitch because you get these little mini finishes as you complete like each little motif, you get a little mini finish. So very satisfactory. All right, we are hitting, we're to the last couple of whips. We're almost done. So we're meeting in the middle. Like I said, we are in 2021. This is Bella Filipina Bellatrix. I'm stitching this on a 32 count linen from Extra Design in the color Witchy Pink. Great fabric. And I'm using the called for floss. She's big. And that's Arlo. Oh gosh. Sorry, the camera is shaking because he's on. He's on. Hey, okay, thank you, buddy. Let me just, I'm almost done. Let me just finish. Sorry. All right. This is Bellatrix. All right, another Owl Forest. This is the Alice in Wonderland stitch along. This was a free stitch along in 2020, I think. And I got the fabric, not the fabric, I got the floss, the called for floss that they dyed themselves. And then this is 40 count Vintage Country Mocha. And I could totally finish this. I got so much of this done. Okay, two more. We're ending on a weird one, but it's okay. So this is not this is the second to last. The penultimate whip. This is Christine the Arctic Ocean Mermaid by Meridian Designs. Or the, I'm stitching this with all the called for, you know, floss and not fabric, floss, crying neck, all that stuff. I'm stitching this on a 28 count color and cotton in the color Periwinkle. I think it goes this way. I got a nice start on her. All right, and the final WIP. I didn't mean for this to be, it's just what we ended on. It's a weird one, like I said. Witchy Stitcher, Guardian of the Woods, Leshy. I'm stitching this with the called for DMC floss. I'm stitching this on an Extrude Designs 32 count in the color Elixir, which is such a cool fabric. I know Lolly likes to stitch on this fabric too. And that's where I'm at on Guardian of the Woods. And that is my final WIP. So the mess I have, you guys, the mess I have right now to pick up. Maybe I should show you. Maybe I'll show you. Let me just grab this camera and show you what we're dealing with now. This is part of my pile, and then this is some more of my pile, and then some more here too. So I'll get started picking all that up. Thanks for watching.